Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. XRP, the most bestest cryptocurrency ever created. Check out this headline from A&B Crypto. XRP Ledger sees more than 105 transactions per second, and XRP is scalable far beyond that. Now, this is something that I did mention in one of my videos yesterday, but I want to properly cover it today because there's more to say on this particular subject. And at the end of the video, I've got a separate piece. That's from Cointelegraph. Peter Schiff goes on to talk about how Bitcoin has failed to be a safe, a financial safe haven. Grumpy old Peter Schiff. No, I like the guy. I tend to agree with him on all sorts of stuff, but he's just flat out wrong when it comes to cryptocurrencies. But he's fun to talk about, so I'll wrap up the video with that one. Before we get going, if you would please delicately tap that like button. And if you're a fan of Ripple and XRP, go ahead and subscribe to the Moon Lambo channel. We're all friends here. And so this piece begins, the decentralized cryptographic ledger and the House of Ripple's native cryptocurrency, XRP Ledger Index, what is this number? 49,624,361 contained 370 transactions, and the closing time for the ledger was just 3.5 seconds in the early hours of August 28th. The total fees for the transactions executed was 26.27 XRP. This event was tweeted by a Twitter user called @RabbitKitClub, who ran an independent Ripple validator node. The tweet read, XRP Ledger 49,624,361 contained a whopping 370 transactions. Assuming a generous close time of 3.5 seconds, that is more than 105 transactions a second. IIRC, this is the most I've seen since decentralization started. Bitcoin and Ethereum don't even come close to that throughput. And that's certainly true. What does Bitcoin max at? Is like something like 7 transactions per second, 7, I think. And Ethereum, I could be mistaken because it's been a while since I looked at the figures on it, but I thought it was. Is it something like 15? I apologize if I'm way off. I could be. I'm pretty confident that I'm right about Bitcoin though. I think it's like 6 or 7 transactions per second, which is why it's basically prototype technology. That's pretty much it. It's a glorified prototype. Anyway, the piece continues. The consecutive ledgers from 49,624,360 and to 49,624,374 also had over 100 transactions and was noted by Ripple senior engineer Nick Bugalis shortly after the original post. Oh, by the way, I've got a tweet. David Schwartz jumped into the thread. I'm going to show you the actual thread that this article is referencing in just a second. But anyway, the piece continues. In January 2019, the XRP Ledger was nowhere near 100 transactions per second and usually stood around 10 to 15 transactions per second, and the figures have been increasingly gradual. At the time of this writing, XRP Ledger recorded 10.32 transactions per second. Additionally, total XRP trade volume in all exchanges is 169 million and a bunch of other numbers, doesn't matter, while the XRP Ledger payment volume stood at 59 million. The XRP Ledger is capable of sustaining a throughput of 1,500 transactions per second on commodity hardware. Yes, indeed. So take a look at this. Now, here's the tweet that they referenced in the article, and Galgatron responded to it also. And I think I read this top tweet yesterday, but I want to share with you more within this thread because 2 Ripple employees jumped in. One was David Schwartz, the CTO of Ripple and co-creator of the XRP Ledger, and then you've got Nick Bugalis, who I keep forgetting his title, but he runs the C++ team at Ripple. Anyway, so the programming team. But Galgatron responded, "This is why I don't understand why people don't believe we can hit 1,500 transactions per second on Ledger. This example shows we're already peaking at 10% of the full capacity, even in this primordial adoption phase of XRP. Matt Hamilton responded to Galgatron there, wrote, "That is just a single ledger, though. Transactions can be set to queue to next ledger if fee too high for current one. I'm still not too worried about it." And Galgatron wrote back to that, "I totally agree. We are a very long way from sustaining this peak volume, but 640K ought to be enough for anybody." And then Rabbit Kick Club, who started this thread, tweeted, Keep in mind that 1,500 transactions figure was derived from a test network that was all on the same LAN and that had known resources, i.e. gigabit networking and 32 gigabytes of RAM. I would be astounded if we could actually hit 1,500 transactions per second on the live net. And then he wrote, we have no idea if the DUNL validators as well as the hubs that serve the network have sufficient resource availability to store that many transactions in RAM as well as enough bandwidth to send that much data to peers. David Schwartz, co-creator of the XRP Ledger, wrote in response to that, it was geographically distributed but beefy hardware. If the live network sustained that rate, many servers would probably need more resources. And then Rabbit responded, how beefy are we talking? And David never did get back, and given that was like 19 hours ago, I don't know that we're going to get a response on that particular one. But Nick Begalis jumped in, and he said, several ledgers after that one had well over 100 transactions each. Check out the sequence of ledgers starting with 49,624,360 and through 49,624,374 on your favorite Ledger Explorer. Convenient link to my favorite Ledger Explorer. So let me pull this up for you, and you can actually see this here. There's the Ledger Explorer right near livenet.xrpl.org. And so you can see there's the ledger that he's talking about, 49,624,360. By the way, we are almost at 50 million. Isn't that amazing? All gone off without a hitch. As soon as XRP was officially launched, out of done being tested, no problems whatsoever. And so you can see here number of transactions, 101. And it's kind of fun to actually scroll through and look at this stuff. Just kind of glance at it. The glorious XRP Ledger. And then he wrote, let me share this. Here we go. And so somebody named ClickBytes wrote to Nick and said, would you regard the 1,500 transactions per second a safe upper boundary, an absolute max, or a calculated number based on math? How was the 1,500 defined? Load testing, ? Thanks, #curious. And then he sent a link to xrpl.org. I'm going to pull this up. He wrote, check this out. And then in the response, I'll pull up in just a second. ClickBytes wrote, clear it's a sustainable throughput in which the ledger keeps functioning as normal without delays. Things start to crack or queue above this number. So let me go ahead and pull this up here. And here's what it says. The most demonstrably scalable blockchain, indeed. Blockchain technology is set to fundamentally transform the way the world moves value, but to do so, it must first meet a number of challenges. In previous posts on this blog, we have highlighted our engineering practices and how they help us build robust and secure software, an important consideration for these new systems. The ability to handle volume is equally important, and today we are sharing some more details about that aspect of our process. In a feature article, which I'm going to pull up, about the XRP Ledger on high scalability, the premier news source about scalable high-performance internet applications, we are proud to talk about our development in benchmarking practices and to discuss the data-driven changes we made to increase transaction throughput by a factor of 10 since we began performance testing. The XRP Ledger has been designed from the ground up with scalability in mind, and the underlying architecture has only been improved over time. As our data shows, the XRP Ledger is now capable of sustaining a throughput of 1,500 transactions per second on commodity hardware. We hope this will be the first article in a series highlighting our continued efforts to scale the performance of the XRP Ledger to meet not only the demands of the present, but of the future as we help the Internet of Value take shape. And so this is so here's a link to the article that they just cited there. This gets way too techy for it's outside the scope of anything my channel would ever reasonably cover. If you're looking for real hardcore tech stuff, I mean, if you were glancing at the screen, you can see what I'm talking about here. If this is the type of thing you're looking for, you're going to need a different YouTube channel. That's outside the scope of my wheelhouse here. But I do want to share the top part with you because it's just good old-fashioned words. And it states, Ripple's XRP Ledger is a blockchain-based payment network that transfers funds between any type of currency within a few seconds with average transaction costs of a fraction of a penny. The core of this peer-to-peer network is an open-source C++ application called Ripple. Ripple's goal is to supplant the world's existing legacy payment networks. As such, scalability is a continuous goal. The document describes how the Ripple team has integrated performance engineering into its development processes and how this has contributed to throughput gains of over 1,000%. And I mentioned in a video the other day, I think it was literally yesterday, in case you missed it, but we're nowhere near maxing out what can be done on-chain with XRP in terms of transactions per second, but Cobalt, it's going to be coming, and it's a scalability solution, essentially. I talked about it in a video yesterday, so I don't completely want to rehash it. But the fact of the matter is, in terms of adoption, with how quick XRP already is, and it's not exactly a priority for Cobalt to be pushed into production and completed. So all good things in time, it'll come. But XRP is just so damn fast, it just doesn't matter. And then you've got Bitcoin and working on a little Lightning Network, which is a centralized solution, in air quotes, requiring pre-funded accounts. No thank you. All right, next piece here. Cointelegraph. Bitcoin failed safe haven test after 7% drop. Peter Schiff gloats. Bitcoin has shown it is not a safe haven asset, Goldbug Peter Schiff has said after the largest cryptocurrency dropped 7% in daily trading. In a tweet on August 28th, Schiff, who has become increasingly known as a Bitcoin naysayer, claimed BTC/USD dipping below $10,000 once again on Thursday put pay to theories. It functioned as a hedge against fiat volatility. Here's a quote. Bitcoin has again failed the safe haven test. On Friday, as escalating trade tensions sent global stock markets plunging, investors sought refuge in monetary safe havens. The Japanese yen, Swiss franc, and especially gold all moved higher. Yet Bitcoin plunged by more than stocks, he wrote. Schiff was referencing a popular theory about Bitcoin investment habits, which has surfaced over the past 2 months. Against the background of the United States-China trade war, tensions in Venezuela, and unrest in Hong Kong, commentators declared Bitcoin offered an option to preserve wealth for those in affected regions. As Cointelegraph noted, overall Bitcoin network volatility hit new 2-month lows last week. Now, however, the fresh move down spurred critics such as Schiff, who continued, quote, since last Thursday, Bitcoin has lost more value than any of the major stock market indexes, while gold and silver have gone up. Let me ask you this. So, does this sound disingenuous at all? Is this just because he hates cryptocurrencies in general? The fact of the matter is, even if Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies in general are, if any of them, are safe havens, they're very volatile, so if you cherry pick very small periods of time, you can go with this narrative that Peter Schiff came up with. You got to ask yourself, does that make any damn sense? I would say no. I don't think that makes any sense at all, frankly. As far as safe haven and the correlation to other markets, look, I've covered this in the past, and frankly, some of the more recent stuff, maybe you can make a reasonable case that it could be a safe haven, but I've covered other materials from other analysts in the past that say the contrary. So what is it really? Is it actually a safe haven? Wait till we hit truly hard global economic times, and then we'll know for sure. You can tell me what you think below, though. I'm going to wrap up the video here. I am not a financial advisor. Do not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo!